Hey, hey, it's Tyler from Rehab to Fab Designs. Join me as I give this French Provincial dresser a much needed makeover. We're going to start by scuff sanding the whole piece. To sand it, I am using a 220 grit sandpaper and a sanding sponge to wrap my paper around. And I'm just doing this basically to kind of knock off some of the sheen from the original finish on this dresser so my paint will stick better. Once I got the top sanded, it was time to move down and do the drawer fronts. In order to do that, I have to move all the hardware. So I'm using a screwdriver here to remove the screws from the back of the hardware, and then I'll just put them back in each drawer. Once they were all removed, it was time to finish sanding the drawer fronts and the frame for this dresser. Once I finished sanding, it was time to clean this piece. We are going to be using this bag of rags from Dixie Belle. It's basically like some old torn up t-shirts that work great for cleaning. And then we are using White Lightning, which is a cleaning agent. It's a cleaning and degreasing agent. Comes in granule form, and we just mix that up with some warm water, and I keep it in a spray bottle. And then we're going to spray it all over it and wipe it back, and we're going to do this until our towels come clean. For my paint, I am using Dixie Belle's Chalk Mineral Paint in a color called Midnight Sky. This is one of my favorite colors if you're going for a dark look. It's almost black, but instead of drying like a complete black color, it actually dries in more of like a really dark charcoaly gray. So if you're going for a chalk type finish and you're wanting to get that kind of chalk flat type finish with your paint, this is a go-to color for that because it's definitely going to give you that flat chalky look. To apply this, I am using a synthetic brush from Dixie Belle. It's an oval small brush, and I am just brushing it on lightly and not going for complete coverage because I actually want some of this dark wood tone on the original finish to show through. So again, just one coat total and kind of a light finish without getting complete coverage. So I just want to kind of show you on this one close up how I'm doing my paint. So I'm doing this very thin. I'm not painting it solid coverage. I want the wood to kind of show through. I did think about doing a paint wash on this with this Midnight Sky and kind of watering it down because I kind of want this to show through. I could wet distress it, but it's already drying too fast. I just went ahead and I'm painting the whole thing. I may just come back and distress it like over these high points right here where these raised areas are because I kind of like the look of the wood showing through. So I was just going to show you. I don't know if you can see good with the light. It almost looks like it's already painted, but I'm just going across this very lightly. And again, not trying to get solid coverage. So kind of leaving the wood peeking through. And I think I'm going to decoupage these drawers. At least maybe the top row, but maybe all of them. We'll see. So I'm going to come back over this a little bit. And you want to make sure you're doing your brush strokes in the same direction, obviously, because it will show. If not, it'll just look a little messier. So that's it. I still have a little bit of wood showing through. Again, it may be hard to see. There's a window on my door right here behind me, so it may be hard to see with the light. And then I'm brushing a little paint on the top and a little on the sides here, and then just leaving it to dry. And then we may come back, if you don't like it, you can always come back and change it. You can come back over it and darken it up if you want and make it solid, or you can come back with like a wet wipe. Actually, baby wipes work really good, or just a wet paper towel, and wipe it back and do some wet distressing to show that. Or you can just sand it with a nice high grit sandpaper, so it'll be nice and smooth, but also take off a little bit of that color to show the wood underneath, because it is a pretty wood, and especially when it's kind of distressed, like I said, over those high points. I really like the way that looks, the light underneath it. So we'll let it dry. I'll paint the sides over here, and then I'll let it dry, and we'll kind of see what it's looking like, and I may come back and distress it. We'll see after it dries and see kind of what it looks like, because when it's still wet, it's kind of hard to tell still. So that's it for that one. One more, and then I'll just kind of come around and do the frame. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is put some rice decoupage paper on here. This is from Dixie Belle. It's called Art Deco Bird Pattern. This is one of my favorites. I love to pair it like on drawer fronts or on the inside backs of drawers. I've done some side tables with it and a couple other projects. So pretty to me. It's got some kind of corally orange in it, like a sagey green and kind of a light bluish gray with the white and the birds and the flower print. And I just think it's super timeless and very pretty. So we're going to decoupage it up here on the drawers. For my decoupage material, I'm using Dixie Belle's Clear Coat, and then I have just a synthetic brush. I think this is an oval small brush. I will just dip it right into my clear coat, and I'm going to apply it on here, and then I'll just lay my paper on it. We'll sand off around the edges, and I'm hoping it's not too hard with these raised areas. This is not a flat drawer. It kind of curves a little bit, so hopefully I can get it to lay it nice and smooth. Cross your fingers. Let's get started.
So if I'm applying a large piece of decoupage paper on a piece of furniture, I will work in smaller sections. But because this is pretty small, with it just being on the top drawer and it's pretty narrow, I'm just applying it all at one time. So I went ahead and put my decoupage medium, which is my clear coat, all over the whole front of the door frame, or the drawer frame, and trying not to get it over on the trim. And then I just laid my piece of paper all on it in one piece, and then just smoothed it out, actually using my hand because it's pretty smooth here. Once it was applied, I went ahead and came around the edges with my sandpaper just to sand off the excess paper, so I have a nice clean lines, and it's just sitting on that outermost part of the drawer. And then again, coming back over it once more with my clear coat to seal it in place. And I did this on the top 3 drawers. I also applied this paper on the fronts of the 2 doors on the bottom on the raised panels.
All right, the last thing I'm going to do is just come around with this sanding sponge from Dixie Belle, and I'm just going to hit right around the edges right here, like I had said previously, just to distress it back a little bit, kind of give it an old, aged, kind of patinaed look. Okay, I've got all the distressing done around the edges on this piece, and as you can see, it's a little dusty now where I sanded it. So the only thing I'm going to do next, I'm going to take one of these little rags from the Dixie Belle bag of rags, and I'm going to kind of spray it with some water with a misting bottle. I'm going to spray it with a misting bottle to get it wet and just kind of wipe this back, mostly just to kind of get the dust off where I sanded it, and then it'll be ready to seal. I'm using Dixie Belle's flat clear coat to seal this piece. I've poured some out onto a plate right here so I don't contaminate my clear coat, and then I'm just using an oval brush to apply it, and we're simply going to just wipe it on nice and smooth, and brush strokes going in one direction, and that's it. And we'll probably do 2 to 3 coats total, and we'll be done.
We did a total of 2 coats total of our clear coat, and the good thing about using a water-based clear coat like this is it dries really fast, so by the time you finish doing a coat all over the whole piece, it's dry, so you can come right back over it with your second coat. This dresser turned out super cute. It's very rustic because it's distressed and it's got that charcoaly gray finish, but also very elegant with the addition of the decoupage paper. I really hoped you enjoyed this tutorial. If you'd like to see more, be sure and follow along with the Dixie Belle and Rehab to Fab Designs Facebook channel. And like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.